So I've got Brian involved as well. Me and Brian talk about the Indigo Invitational, and we're going to get stuck into that. And I've got quite a few questions for Brian because although I'm still learning as I go along, but this is a hang. So if anybody wants some muting, because I'm kind of in charge of who gets muted and unmuted, I think. Show your faces on there. Let us know that you're watching. I'll unmute you, and then you can jump in and out as much as you want for the next hour. And it also gives me 5 minutes here and there just to wolf down a bag of crisps or get another bottle of water. So, nice to meet you, Brian.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Ben. I watched with great interest. I watched the last Denim hang. Absolutely loved that. Sat in on a few of those sessions there. Jumped in on one of them. It was with Rudy. I was talking to him because he's going to be a competitor this year. So looking forward to his session as well today.
It's Rudy is back on again today, obviously.
Yeah, later this afternoon, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be 6 o'clock your time until it's 5 o'clock GMT. Yeah, so just to clarify, if anybody wants in and you want unmuting, just show me your face and I will unmute you. And then obviously you can, you have to unmute yourselves. Oh, that's even better. One less thing for me to worry about. Guys, anybody that wants to unmute, go for it and join in. And just before we move on, just to remind everybody, thanks to everybody that's watching on Zoom. Thanks to everybody that's watching on YouTube via the stream. We can't see you, but we know that you're there. Please subscribe to the Global Denim Man YouTube channel. Click as a like. It does help us get up the feeds. We are doing this for charity. And if anybody doesn't know yet, we have got a charity raffle where very good brands, Bazard being one of the gents, have all donated jeans, jackets, wallets. There's so much stuff. There's a collaboration Global Denim bandana by the guys over at Denim. There's nearly 40 prizes and they're worth way over £5,000 combined. It's £10 a ticket and all the money's going straight to Save the Children Global. So if we can use this platform for something good, I just think then we should. So let's see how we get on. I mean, I don't know if Amanda will get a chance to check the ticket sales for me. Maybe she will, maybe she won't, and I'll update everybody in a bit. But in the meantime, I'm going to move on to the Asia hang. Brian.
Yes.
Indigo Invitational. Me and Brian met earlier this week. Tom from Denim Hunters kindly put us together. Brian runs a fake contest, which, although I knew it were doing well, I'm going to clarify a few facts because I'm sure somebody told me this week there's 300 entries.
More. I think it's up to about 375 probably by today. We started year 2 kind of expecting, we knew it was going to be bigger because there were a lot of people waiting on the sidelines.
Okay.
And, like as year 1 ended, we got a lot of interest kind of, we got some features on Heddles and Long John, a lot of stuff on Denim Hunters. I'm doing some collaborative content with Thomas there. So we just had a lot of interest kind of generated in what the competition was. So when we started looking at what we expected for year 2, a lot of that said, okay, well, we should be looking at maybe 200, maybe 250. Wouldn't it be crazy if we had 250 in terms of competitors? This contest starts on October 1st, so we're still like a few weeks away from the start date, and it's just been picking up steam as we go. We've got it's actually really appropriate. We're in the Asia Denim hang talking about this because a lot of the interest is we've got a lot of interest from the United States. That's probably the number one. In terms of single countries, but Southeast Asia has been a huge contributor in terms of competitors coming over. We had 60% of our podium last year was pulled out of Southeast Asia, Thailand, and Indonesia. So we're really happy to be here with you on the Asia Denim hang. But yeah, we've got 375, probably maybe 380 competitors at last count. We had 114 competitors last year in year 1. This year we just crossed 115 brands in the competition. So that was kind of a milestone for us. Wouldn't it be great if we could get as many brands as we had competitors in year 1? So we've crossed that milestone. So it's a great opportunity to get a cross section, the entire denim scene, not just where faders are fading from, but brands from all over the place. We got people competing in the jeans they've made themselves. We've got like every possible brand almost. There's some notable exceptions, but almost every single brand you can think of, there's a pair in the competition. So we're going to watch them fade for 365 days.
So just to clarify, when you say brands, basically you mean, say, Naked and Famous, who are putting a staff member into it and they're representing a product. That's brilliant. And what do people have to do when they're in the contest? Like, how?
So what are the rules? What are the rules?
What do they have to do?
Okay, yeah. Let's go into that. So everything is really like I could spend. I don't want to eat up too much of the time of the Age of Denim hang here talking about the minutia of the rules and guidelines, etc. So I'm just going to direct people to the website. It's indigoinvitational.com. And it's got a rules page there, which kind of has an overview of the rules, your major rules, which I'll cover in just a second for you here. And then at the bottom of the page, there's a link to a full rule book. And that's where we go into some detail on these kind of things and kind of like community guidelines, et cetera. So what you need to know is you need to go on the website and register. If you want to compete, you need to register first. You do that on the website, on the register page. You just fill in the fields. And away you go. You need a brand new pair of raw denim. So that's most important. Most of the questions concern that. Like, I've got this pair, I've only worn them twice. Well, no, they're not brand new. So they need to be in the condition that they would be in a store. Like what Bazar was talking about, somebody's put on a pair of jeans, which like a menstruating customer puts on a pair of jeans, and those are no longer in sellable condition. So it's the same kind of thing. Like these need to be in sellable condition when you put them on. They need to be absolutely brand new with the tags still on. And then on October 1st, or we're going to release the hashtag on September 30th. So we give some people a bit of time to get these photographs in. So you're going to submit raw proof, which is photographs of your denim in a brand new state, and you submit your first kind of update gallery. These can be lay flats, or you can choose fit pics. You'd like front, back, and side, whatever you like, and you need to submit those every month for 1 year. So the contest runs for 1 year. And then I can go into the judging and stuff like that if you like as well, but we're going to pick our top fades, and then there's a kind of those get whittled down to our podium finishers. We're going to have 10 prize packages this year for the top 10 finishers, and those will be picked by a judging panel.
That's really interesting. I might enter myself. I've got a brand new pair. Just a quick one though. So colour, white. Can somebody enter with a natural full selvage denim? You know, it might be white, it might be ecru, but at the same time, it would still build its own character over a year.
I'm still waiting for the person to be brave enough to come in white jeans. It's definitely open. So as long as it's raw, as long as it comes out of the factory in this, like it hasn't been washed, or like we can have the one wash denim, but it hasn't been. You don't have artificially created fades on the finished product, right? It's something that the customer is expected to fade themselves. So we all kind of know what raw denim is. There's some people in the competition brand new to it, and we're having that conversation about what we mean by raw denim. It doesn't have to be selvage. So there's a lot of there's a pretty broad definition of what we're talking about, but it's just got to be brand new and it's got to be made to fade. So.
And yeah, you're allowed to soak the jean throughout the competition, no doubt, if you want to.
Sorry?
You're allowed to soak the jean throughout the competition.
Oh, so yeah, absolutely. So once we kind of fire that starting gun on October 1st, then you do what you like. No artificial fades. That's another. It's again prominently on the rule page. You can't get in there with the sandpaper. You can't get in there with putting bleach straight on your denim. I talked to Bazan. I originally said that it was a rule that you can't use bleach at all, but some people love to use bleach in the wash to kind of brighten the colors a little bit. So we looked at that rule and we said, that's fine, because you're not artificially fading the jeans. Some people who wear their jeans, they got like kind of filthy careers, whatever they do. They want to wash their jeans weekly. Go ahead. It just generally kind of more striking fades seem to be what the judges look for. But there might be one of our panelists who really loves vintage fades, so maybe fading is going to be an advantage for you, like washing regularly. That's
really interesting. I think can everybody else see on the screen the Swedes? That's their name. I believe we might have a contestant here. He's just definitely been holding up some raw denim. How are we doing, lads?
Yeah, new, totally new. About an hour old.
Yeah, perfect.
I bought them from an hour ago.
Yeah,
from Second Sunrise in Stockholm.
Yeah, put them in the back of the drawer and save them until October 1st. You can
okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to register to the competition, dude?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I can't wear them daily, but just to enter, just to have fun.
Yeah,
that's exactly the spirit where we're really trying to push here. Is that this is what made year one so incredible for the people who participated in it and the people who ran it as well. For myself, I was a participant and running it. I've got my partner Dave from England. He's also he's been a huge help through this whole thing for me. It's just about like a community spirit of kind of fading all at the same time. Fading is something a lot of us do on our own. We do it as a solitary pursuit. Maybe you got a denim friend. That's great. I live in Norway. Like the nearest denim heads are in Stockholm, so they're really hard to find. So I fade on my own. And it's great to be able to do that as part of a community. So
we're fading as a team.
Yeah,
absolutely. And there's this great team spirit that Bazad is bringing to it. This idea that Naked and Famous is going to come in as a team. No one's approached the contest like that. I expected something similar out of Naked and Famous, like when they came in to take it to bring something new to the competition. They've done that in spades with the Selvage Foundation. I don't want to give you guys too much promotion for the Selvage Foundation, but we're really impressed with how they've done that. And
I'll tell you what, Brian, I think your text on your own page is really clear. I think it's brilliant how you've got a paragraph on, if you're wanting basically some shit talking and some, crude banter and a first place, then don't enter this competition because that's not.
It's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. We didn't see any of that. Like literally, not one problematic example of language of kind of people shit talking other faders or trying to push yourself up by pushing other people down. We didn't see any of that in year one. We don't want to see any of it in year two, and so far we haven't. It's been a really positive experience. So what we really want to encourage people to do is come join the competition. I've made a strong case for that in the Loose Threads. I got an article called "Step into the Light." And it's about this idea that we can do justice to our genes. We can fade one garment for 365 days and make it this beautiful piece that we're really proud of. We have to lay aside our rotations to be able to do that. But we can fade this one garment and do full justice to it. And that's the whole kind of spirit behind this, is that we can like drop the rotation, drop collecting just for a minute, just for a year, and focus on a single pair. And it's a really rewarding journey. And you don't have to win it. It's just putting those 365 days into one pair and see what happens.
It's just good fun. And while you've got 375, maybe 400 plus candidates, I think what everybody should remember is you're all going to be hashtagging the same thing. You'll get to a point where you're all tagging the same thing. You'll come out of this knowing so many more people.
Oh, yeah.
You'll build relationships, and that's the most important part of the competition, I would have thought. You think, Brian?
Yeah.
Right, Brian. I'm just going to ask you a little bit about last year's competition. I'm going to let Amanda take the lead because I just need to nip off. I'll be back in 5 minutes, Amanda, if that's all right, love. And then Brian, we can tell everybody about what we're going to move on to next, buddy, that we've been talking about.
Yeah, the announcement. Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about that.
Basically, I've left it upstairs.
Yeah, you gotta go get it. All right, I'll talk to Amanda for a few minutes.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So I'm quite new to it. I've only just been introduced to the Indigo Invitation, and it sounds amazing. And I love what you just said about people not bringing other people down and supporting other people in it. Just tell us about last year.
So it all started. I guess I can tell you about the roots of the competition and how this thing got off the ground. I was in the Raw Denim Facebook group. I think a lot of people maybe in here with us are members of that group if you're regular on Facebook. And I asked people, I said, show me your fades. I'm seeing a lot of new denim, but I'm not seeing many fades. It's all brand new selvage. It's beautiful, but I want to see the faded stuff. And I didn't see enough of it. I didn't get much of a response in terms of I got some great stuff coming out of Thailand and Indonesia, but a lot of the Western faders, they had stacks of brand new selvage. None of it faded. So I wanted to provide a way to do that. I teamed up really quickly with my friend Dave because he knew this was going to be a logistical nightmare, and it has been. And we just built this competition at first, no prizes. It was just for honor. It was just an honor-based competition. We were all going to do this. We had about 50 competitors, and then sponsors started joining on. We ended up with about 10 sponsors last year, and about 115 competitors. 65 of those crossed the line after 365 days. And over that year, as Ben was just saying, we made friends. We built a community, and now that community is just exploding in size. So we're clearly onto something, and we want to kind of keep it going indefinitely into the future as well. But based on what we saw in year one, we're really excited to see what year two will bring.
And who was the winners of last year?
So the winner was Rizky. So Not Your Ordinary Fade. He's won some other competitions as well. He's from Indonesia, and he faded a pair of 25-ounce Samurais that just beautiful. There was no question. Really, we had one judge last year, and there was no question for it. These are clearly the best fades of the bunch, and I think everybody in the group agreed. Second place was Steven Snyder, Denim Rambler, who's a bit of a celebrity in this community. He shreds jeans. He's well known for doing that, and he did it. He did it with the PBJ Okayama Denim 002, the collaboration they did. He just laid waste to those jeans. He had to patch them up a few times to get them across the line. Third place was Alex Swords, Kill Your Jeans. He's also no stranger to fade contests. He did very well with a pair of Iron Hearts. And then fourth and fifth was shared with Puriwat Nancheka, I think I'm pronouncing that right. He's an incredible Thai fader, and he and his twin brother both placed in the top 10. Unbelievable pairs there. And Nicholas Valen, he's another from Jakarta, incredibly gifted graphic designer, and he's painting on denim, he's painting on wallets, and he's doing flashers now and stuff. He did the elephants. So we saw the Naked and Famous elephants. There were two pairs in the top 10, and we got one of them on the podium. So it was a good result. We were really happy with the results. And
so how many judges did you have, and what did they have to know to be able to be a judge?
One of the first stockists I reached out last year was Ribbon and Hide. So I talked to Danny at Ribbon and Hide, and I said, we don't have any sponsors yet, but do you guys want to sponsor? And he said, well, I don't know what you guys have over there. So no, I don't think we want to sponsor, but I'll judge it. So I said, okay. So the first thing I said when I came back to the group, I said, we got our judge. It's Danny at Ribbon and Hide. He's going to judge this for us. So he's a big fan of, we talked to him about the judging process, during it. And he's a big fan of faders who can bring out the inner quality of the jean, who can bring that texture to life, and really get down into the core, the core of the yarn, and show us what the jean is all about, what's holding it together. So that's why he picked Snyder as the second place. It's faders that really kind of capture the spirit of what that denim is trying to become. So that's what he was kind of looking for, and he found that in all three pairs that he put on the podium, and then we talked about the fourth and fifth as well. This year we're going to do a panel. So rather than having one view is always objective, and you're always going to have somebody maybe disagreeing with that. So we want to get a more plurality of views. And Thomas at Denim Hunters, I don't know if he's still here. He's off with his family now. He's going to.
I think having
There he is. So maybe Thomas, you can just talk for a minute or two about the panel you're going to put together.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm doing some family stuff. That's why I dropped the hat stuff. But yeah, putting together a panel, and I think we have 6-7 panelists, judges there now. And yeah, like you just said, I mean, bringing in a diversity, really. I mean, obviously it's going to be more diverse when you have more people, but trying to get someone who has sort of different opinions on what good fades look like. So yeah, we got. I mean, I don't know if I want to reveal it, Brian.
No, we can keep that reveal. I think for maybe early in October. We'll have once we finalize the panel. You know, we don't want to put anybody on the spot and say that you're our judge when they're like, well, I'm not sure if I want to be the judge. So yeah, we'll announce the panel in October.
I think it'd be really cool for you to film the judging when
absolutely.
That's exactly the plan. That's exactly the plan.
I can imagine you all being like, yeah, but I like that one and this one's got this on it. It's gonna be cool.
It's all go ahead.
Sorry, Brian. I was just going to say on the next Global Denim hang, Amanda, I know that we're thinking it's going to be a good 6 months away, the next one, because we want to just build on getting the regular content up to YouTube weekly. But if we said 6 months from 1st of October, we could do a judging. We could do it on the next Global Denim Hang, and it could be a full hour's slot. Really, I think that would be really fun. We can get all the contestants to come in. I don't know how you normally do it, but you know, it's just a suggestion.
I definitely want to be involved in the next Denim Hang, you know, and Dave as well. So I would love to do a midway kind of progress report on the competition. You know, like we're 6 months in, and who are the early leaders, and have some of our judge the panelists on with us and talking about what they're looking for and what they're seeing from early in the competition. I'd love that. It was a great idea.
I think people would really get behind it. We might have to do it as a 2-hour slot, do it in 2 hours. So we might have an hour judging, but then we have an hour talking to contestants. You know, that would be really cool.
Yeah, but I mean, in 6 months we won't have it finished, so we can have sort of a halfway sort of looking at what's going on now, and talking to people, what are they doing to get these fades, maybe get some of those stories. I think could be interesting too, and maybe some tips on this one is looking really good, but you really need to, you know, don't wear it 5 days a week, wear it 7 days, 24 hours if you want to get there.
We should start making bets. That guy's going to win. Place your odds.
That would be a good place to kind of place your bets, so to speak. You know, that's where we could have people on here talking about what pairs they think are going to go the distance. You know, I think in year one, if we looked at the pairs, there was a few that we would have expected to go further, deeper into the top 10 or even easily into the top 20 that didn't end up kind of crossing the line straight. They kind of like a great runner, some runners are really strong out of the gate, and then for the last 50 meters or so, they flag a bit and they get a little bit tired. So we saw people who maybe went back to the rotation a little bit, and it made a big difference in terms of the people who were then able to catch them and pass them in the last leg of the race.
I find with all fade contests, you always get people that drop off. That's when you're true fighters, your true denim heads sort of come.
Yeah, they come to the surface. With say we have 400 competitors in the running this year. I think we're going to have maybe a little more than that, but say we have 400 when we fire that gun on October 1st. I'm expecting half of those to cross the line a year later, and so that we'll lose. It makes us a little easier for us. We got to pick out top 50. That's the founders have to pick the top 50 out of whoever crosses the finish line. So if I've got 400 fades to pick from, that's a tremendous amount of work. So
it's it'd be interesting to hear how you decide to panel that off. I don't know whether you'll make 4 judges judge 50 pairs each, and then they all bring the best 10 or whatever. I'm sure it'll be. There'll be a lot of thought process put into that before the decision is finally made.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot. Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of thought process put into eliminating 15 pairs last year. When we had to go from 65 to 50, that was hard. So going from 250 down to 50, that's going to be, intensely difficult.
And I think, Tom, we're up for doing this because we do put out we will be putting out the weekly videos on the YouTube. Obviously, this is a 24-hour stream, but then we have been recording 2 to 3 sessions a week just with different guys, and they're all going to start getting put up. Tom mentioned the other day on the phone that he'd be up for jumping on and doing a video with you where you could talk into it a little bit more in depth, maybe a couple of days before it starts, and then we can release it that week. That'd be pretty fun. Or maybe we'll release it a week before, so anybody that then wants to jump in still got a week to go out and get a pair of jeans.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always open to anybody, the people on the panel who know me here, like Bazad and Thomas. They don't know I'm always open to talking about it and especially getting on camera and letting as many people know as we can about this, because I do want a big pool. I want as many competitors in this thing as we can possibly get, and I want to see as many people across the line as we can in a little more than a year.
What I will do is, Brian, me and Brian's been speaking this week. We decided not to mention it on social media this week simply because we have all been talking about this and it would have got a little bit confusing. So we decided to use today to sort of announce a little giveaway that Brian's going to run alongside his Indigo Invitational. And we've got a mutual friend in a guy called Evan from Tannery South that did an hour slot on the last Global Denim Han, which were really brilliant. And he's donated, this is one of his products, but he's donated 10 to a competition. He basically did a veg tan fade log, which you can see there. And it's basically designed to go in your pocket. I'm guessing your back pocket, because that's where you'll get your the best fade from it. And the information that he stamps on it is, you can write the brand, the date acquired, whether it's selvage or not, which I'm sure it will be, whether it's raw or not, which it definitely will be. You can put the fit, the size, whether it's amphorized, when you first soak it, and then you've got your washers and your wears log at the bottom where you can dot it with obviously just a little Sharpie or something. For me, that'd probably be wear weeks. I'd probably do that by the week, and then that's obviously for your washers. We have actually got 10 of these to give away. So keep an eye out on the Clobbercan profile and the Indigo Invitational profile, because we'll announce that probably on Monday. Did we say, Brian? It'd be a good time.
Yeah, I think we'll announce on Monday. So we'll announce on both accounts, on the Indigo Invitational account and on your account, on the Clobbercan account. And the rules, we've done a few giveaways over the past month. So if you've participated in them, it's going to be something really similar. We'll send you over to the Clobbercan account. We'll have a post. You can put a comment on there. You have to be a registered competitor, like both of our pages. That'll get you in the running. And there's going to be 5 on each side of the Atlantic, right?
I've got 5 here in Europe, and Evan's got another 5 at the other side of the pond.
Yeah, that's perfect.
We can space them out fine.
Yeah, we'll have 5 North American competitors, 5 over here. Yeah.
And also, basically, if you don't win, but you do want one, obviously you can just go to Evan's profile or Evan's website, because they're really not expensive, and he ships them out as a letter, so you don't get any duty.
I really like your idea of doing fade weeks. That way, it'll last longer. If you're in the competition, there's not enough little squares there. There's not 365 squares.
No, exactly. That's exactly what I thought, which is a bit of feedback I've given Evan, but these are basically from the first batch. So I would do the fade weeks, because there is definitely 52 squares.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. And then you can use it for the entire competition. We kind of mark off your progress. That's great.
And more to the point, it'll add a rate good fade. If it's in your back pocket, it'll add a good fade. Oh, good question, Brian. Yeah. What if somebody wants to fade out a jacket or a shirt?
So we wanted to do. We've definitely talked about this. I love fading shirts as well. I got a brand new jacket that I'm just started to work on. And when we looked at what kind of the other fade competitions have done, and I don't want to talk shit about any of them because they paved the way for what we're doing. But one of the things we didn't want to do was what they did, which is split the field into different categories. So then you had different your weight categories. You had different. Then you had different clothing categories. So you could do boots, a belt, like a denim category, a shirt category, a jacket category. We just want to do one thing and do it well and keep the focus entirely on jeans. There are a lot of people. We really encourage this. I'll be doing it myself with the jacket, with the pigeon tree belt. They're just having fun with it and saying, I'm going to put 365 days into my belt as well. I'm going to put 365 days into a jacket and see what I can do over the course of the competition. There might be a spot prize for best non-jean item. At the end, we might have some kind of, if somebody's done some really exceptional work with a wallet or with a belt or something like that. But going forward, almost certainly going forward, we're going to keep the focus entirely on jeans.
And that's good. And if you want to know any more information, obviously you can contact Brian directly on the Indigo Invitational. He is very efficient at replying to messages, I can assure you. I've gone back and forth. It's been absolutely fine. I thought it would be a good idea now. I mean, I don't know if anybody's brave enough. If there's any of the guys that want to join us just for a general little bit of chinwag, we've got a lot of people we have the videos on, which I understand, but you could just put your audio on if you wanted. Because I'm a bit worried about people getting sick to death of hearing my voice, if I'm completely honest. So, and most of you need a translator, considering my accent. So it's probably twice as hard to listen to me. Maybe this is where Bazard could come back in and explain to us. I mean, in the contest last year, Bazard, I'm guessing you had quite a few pairs of Naked and Famous entered.
Yeah. I didn't know too much about the event last year, kind of until it was over, really. I would see a little bit about it here and there on the forums, but on the Facebook Raw Denim group, they haven't accepted my invitation. So, or my whoever runs that does not want me in there. So, I don't know what the heck's going on. I just know what's going on Reddit and what I see on Instagram. So, yeah, this year I was keen on it. Brian, I think, reached out just to let me know like what's going on and for sponsorship. And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally down. I thought this was a great way for just the community in general to come together. And I was really excited for it. And I don't know if Brian even kind of expected it, but, I was pretty gung-ho. I was like, okay, I want to be in this. Not only do I want to be in it, I want to promote it. I want everybody to know about it. So ever since, I've kind of known about it, I've talked about it on our live streams, on every one of our email blasts that we send out to, hundreds of thousands of people. It's part of it. Here's what you need to know about the Indigo Invitational. Join it, participate in it. It's the biggest denim fading contest in the world. So I've been pretty vocal about it. I think it's a great opportunity for the whole world to come together. And, while we talk about, the spirit of competition and, I love competition. I think it's a lot of fun. And, I've been talking to Brian a lot about it already because, we have our Selvage Foundation, which is like our...
Do you want to show the group your T-shirts? Do you have those available? Because that's a really cool thing that we've I've really been impressed with.
If you could explain a bit more about the Selvage Foundation.
So the Selvage Foundation, if you know me, you know that I'm a lover of pro wrestling. I love it's denim and pro wrestling. These are some of my favorite things in life, and I thought it would be funny. And I didn't even run it by Brian. I just kind of talked to our fans about it. I said, what we should do? We should invade this competition because one of the greatest story angles in pro wrestling history was the NWO or DX kind of invading WCW or WWE at the time and just taking over the joint. And so I was like, we should be a bunch of heels who come in and just we're here to show off our fades. We're a team. We're a faction. We're unstoppable. And through our own little kind of interactions, we wanted to cut promos and, big up our jeans and be all tough guys and braggadocious about it. And so I thought if we're going to do this, then we need to have our own faction. We need to have our own team. So that's how the Selvage Foundation came to be. And I know for those pro wrestling people who don't know about pro wrestling, groups within pro wrestling, are very important, and there's so many iconic like teams of wrestlers who've come together to win all the gold and get all the championships and just kind of be straight up badasses. So the Selvedge Foundation, let me just pull it up. Even the t-shirt style comes from these
it's a bit NWO into sort of style. Yeah. You should call your 40-ounce jean the Lesnar.
The Lesnar.
The Brock.
Brock.
I do want to get to this question, actually. Like I asked it earlier. Like, has Naked and Famous ever considered a collaboration with WWE?
Oh, it's in my list of things to do.
Yeah, because it seems to write itself. You would have, like, for the different WEFs, you got the Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, the Hart Foundation. Like, it's all there. It's all there.
I've already written out every idea and what the fabric would be.
Yeah,
all there. I actually I love all things pro wrestling, and before even AEW was a thing, I approached AEW. I'm like, we need to do this, and I didn't press it too hard, but I'm so down to do that one day. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Like our staff in New York, the wrestling fans, if you look back at their Halloween costumes from last year in store, they were all dressed up as pro wrestlers. Like we.
And this is one of the thing, Ben, I was telling you about, is that Bazad has brought this kind of enthusiasm to the competition, and it's not just a competitor enthusiasm; it's a brand enthusiasm, and that's entirely unique. We had some really great contributions from our sponsors last year, but this is completely different. Bazad's approach to this, and Naked and Famous's approach into this competition, has really. This is what we were looking for, is to have a brand come in and say, we're going to dominate this. We're really we love it, without, again, they're not pushing anybody else down. They're not saying your jeans suck and stuff. Like, it's just the confidence. It's the braggadocious. You use this word a few times in your last talk there. It's that confidence in saying, we make the best jeans on the planet, and we're so confident about this that we're gonna walk away with all the gold this year, and we love that. And
the gold.
Yeah, all the gold. Yeah. They're still in second place in terms of pairs registered, but that might change. That might change.
That will change.
Tight race at the top. The tight race.
Oh, it's gonna be just. You're going to have to rename the competition down the line to just the Naked and Famous Denim Invitation.
If you dominate the top 20, okay, we'll see.
It'll be a clean sweep. Sorry, everyone. I'm not confident, but that's just. Anyways, I just equate so much of life to pro wrestling, and heels are always the best. So just got to play the heel role a little bit and play the back guy. But it's all in good fun. I don't want to put anybody down. I think this is going to be a fun competition, and it just adds another level to the fun.
Yeah, and that's all we're looking for is people who want to bring something new into the competition. We've got more than 20 sponsors this year, and some of them have. I'll mention one is Gingerwood. And he brought this amazing indigo. He's made it a spot prize, like this indigo dyed wooden hand turned bowl. That's the prize he's brought to this. So we've had these contributions from brands and from sponsors that have really changed the game this year and made this year two completely different and on a different scale than we've seen before. And
it's going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually, there was a couple of weeks ago, and I saw this article that some person wrote in Washington Post or one of these big important American newspapers, and it was talking about how denim is dead, and she wrote about how all these retailers are dying, and everyone's working from home, everyone's wearing sweatpants and this and that, and I'm like, lady. I didn't say it like that, but I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, lady, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, a company being poorly performing or operating their business in a way that isn't profitable doesn't mean that denim is dead. We can look at a lot of big brands and as denim lovers, we're like, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Like I'm sure we do it all the time. We look at it and we're like, oh God, I wish you would do this or stop doing that. Like nobody wants this. Like, so, and I wrote to her and I said, and she never responded. I don't think her intention was to tell the truth, but she never responded. And I said, despite all of these, the denim industry is dying, and look at all these denim shops and all these mass market retailers that are going under. I know from my personal experience, and I know from the experience of practically everybody that I know in the denim industry, as these small brands, all of our sales are up. And from like 2010, when kind of the spotlight was on raw denim and the heritage wave, I don't know how many of you guys remember that, but like it was so hot that Barney's New York was carrying all of the raw denim brands. Barney's New York, the one of the most fashionable retailers in the entire world, had an entire denim department that was raw denim and workwear. So you knew how mainstream this was. And people thought, okay, well, the bubble burst and that went away. I'm like, well, the brands that were there for the fad went away. But the brands that were there because that's what they do, they carried it on and they lived on. And there's so many of us great brands out there that are making so many great things. And we're all selling more jeans than ever before. And it's not that people aren't buying jeans. They're not buying shit jeans. They don't want crap anymore. People want good stuff. And the fact of the matter is, like, if you think about our price point versus, say, a luxury designer brand, I was looking at a brand the other day, and it was a basic raw denim, just absolute basic, ordinary fabric, nothing special to it, made in Europe, and they wanted about 3 or 4 times the average price point of one of our jeans. And like the consumer isn't dumb. You know what I mean? Like nobody who loves raw denim is gonna be like, oh wow, that's an amazing product. Everyone who knows raw denim, even a novice, is educated enough to be like, that's a ripoff. Yeah. So like customers are so much more aware. They don't want garbage. So, is part of like, or globally are denim sales down? Yeah, maybe because they're not buying crappy jeans anymore. And those who make crappy jeans need to figure out how to make better jeans or jeans that are more suited to their customer. But, some people aren't that. And they're just like, okay, well, we're just going to pivot to sweatpants because that's what's popular now. And you're not going to make good sweatpants either because the people who make good sweatpants have been making good sweatpants and they're going to dominate that market. So, I have a question for you actually about tying this to Asia. This is the Asian denim hang, right? We're in the Asian denim hang? Okay. So you're in Japan, and I don't know how much time you're spending outside, like outside of your home there. Every video I see, you're in that location. I'm at home a lot, but I mean, I'm out every now and then.
Are you seeing much of the kind of workwear style, the selvage enthusiasm? Are you seeing that grow at all in Japan?
No,
like it's exploding in Southeast Asia.
That my opinion on that is it's dead and dying here. That look.
Yeah.
That heritage workwear kind of look it's fun to look at in magazines, and as denim lovers, we look at the magazines and we look at them like, oh my God, look at how the Japanese people wear it. It's like they're finding the people that wear it, and those people are being photographed. And you go to a denim exhibition, like they might have one of these little like festivals or shows for their audience, and everybody comes to that. It's like going to it's the equivalent of going to Comic-Con and being like, look at all the Americans that are cosplaying. Yeah. It's like, well, if you go to the place where they're all cosplaying, then they're all cosplaying. But just the general market.
Where would you place that epicenter then? Where would you put? And again, we can open this up to the rest of the panel as well. Like, where is the raw denim, the heritage workwear? Where is that epicenter globally? Like New York, Stockholm.
It's different because in America and Europe, I think that the look in Europe, there's this raw denim guy, and the look for raw denim guy is often heritage style, right? They've got the chambray shirt, they've got the vest, they've got the boots. There's certain stores that really do that look, and that's the look that they sell. But I find in North America, raw denim is so, it runs such a diverse group of people. You could have the streetwear guy wearing it with Nike sneakers, and you can have the heritage guy who's wearing it with work boots. And then you can just have the kid who's wearing it with, not a kid, but, an average person wearing it with a hoodie and their raw jeans and their Converse and a flannel shirt. And they go to school, they go to work like that. It is not a bubble like it is in certain markets. Some market, and even then, the bubble that's maybe where the mass audience might be. But of course, there's still pockets of people who are just kind of wearing it as they would normally wear any other pair of jeans. So they're not living that, top to bottom raw denim lifestyle like the people at Standard and Strange keep trying to sell people all the time. I keep telling them that they need to start selling more track pants, but they never listen to me.
I think it does depend on where you're from as well, because
I think it's good for you to do this, Amanda, because just a bit of background for anybody that doesn't know, Amanda is a denim designer. So she's working on designs and fits now for denim brands moving into the future, not necessarily just raw denim brands, but in general. And I think Amanda's viewpoint on this will be really interesting. Sorry to cut you off then, Amanda.
Right. No, I was just going to say, I think it totally depends where you're from. Like, if you're in the UK, a lot of people look to Japan for their inspiration. Whereas if you're in New York, you might look to the UK. And it's really quite a funny thing because, obviously, over this time, I've been having chats with some of my friends in denim. And, when they mention, say they're from America and they mention UK brands, and I'm like, they're really good, but they're just up the road for me. So it's it's not as aspirational because I can actually get to them and see them. I still admire them, but for me, obviously Japan, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. It's really far away. These are really cool because it's a different thing to look for. And going back to what people are buying and things like that, I think that's massive. I think people have started to really think about what they're investing in because they've had time to sit at home, look around them. What are they spending their money on? And it shouldn't be these fast fashion brands. But we've got Amy Leverton on later, who's from Denim Dudes. He's going to do a talk about how people are buying post-COVID and things like that. So definitely check that out because she'll definitely go further into that.
So maybe there's something there about what you're saying. The scene is always elsewhere. Right, wherever you are, it's so if you're in England, you're looking to Japan. If you're in New York, you're looking to London. But I'm assuming that there's a growing focus on with the sustainability movement, etc. So I'm thinking of brands like in the UK, I think it's Hebtraco and Hayut, which is the Welsh raw denim makers there. In Sweden, it would be Indigo Farah. Right, having this a more locally based. So you're looking for your raw denim in Norway. It's Livid. So that I don't know. It doesn't seem to spread outside of Norway at all. That brand, but I'm wondering if those two are at odds. That there's this pull towards shopping locally, but you're always looking for your style cues somewhere else. So do you see that much in design? Like talking to English people and maybe English brands, and they want to kind of replicate looks from overseas, or?
Yeah, I think it's totally different on different levels, and I've worked from all levels of design. In terms of commercial fashion, it's normally New York or Tokyo that they'd normally, but obviously nobody's been able to get out to those places. So it's going to be very interesting to see how companies actually get true inspiration again, or whether it's just going to be Pinterest. So yeah, so it is gonna change things a lot. But I think we're always looking to outside kind of things because those brands you mentioned in the UK, all amazing. Got Black Horse Lane as well, and I Am Me, and we've got some really good stuff coming. And Joe & Co obviously was on later. We've got some great stuff going on in the UK. So yeah, we have got it all here, to be honest. But
is it catching on in the UK though, or is it catching on the continent? Is it catching on in the United States? Those UK brands, are they finding a way into UK consumers' hands? are they starting to compete with those Japanese brands?
I don't know. I think that's something we should maybe ask in the other hangs as well, because that is really interesting to know. Because they're great brands. So it'd be good.
They deserve it. From what I've seen from the products, and especially the way they're constructing the brands, that they deserve that attention. At home, and like if we can reward people who are just up the road from us, like you said, when the factories are just up the road. We should do that.
I do find it's a struggle for brands to break out into other markets. It just, you have the disadvantage of being the hometown guy, because for some reason everyone wants something else.
Yeah.
And then when you go somewhere else, they're like, oh, I don't know who you are. So it's such a struggle to get to that point where you could get that acceptance somewhere else. And when you do, the weird thing, like with us, it was, in Canada, it started off as a struggle. It was like, okay, little brands here and there. And then when Barney's picked us up in New York, everyone was like, oh, you're a Barney's? Okay, now I can do it. And then it was just like, it was like a flood. It was like, okay, like, this is a good problem to have, but just, the way about it is to just try and get to the influential store that you want to have your stuff. And that's often difficult. You know what I mean? You can't just approach the best store in America or the best store in the UK and they're going to, make some shelf space for you. But I think without it, it's a struggle to get your name out there. But at the same time, with social media and the way that our raw denim community works now, a lot of us, we just like independent small brands that are making good stuff. So maybe the key is to just be very vocal on social media.
Do you think it would have made a difference when you getting into Barney's there? Do you think it would have made a difference if you had your factory just up the street from Barney's? Did the fact that you're a Canadian brand, did that add a layer of the exotic that you could say, hey, we're a small Canadian brand, and that immediately is somewhere else?
I think what nailed it for Barney's was, if you've ever met Brandon, and some of you people might have, he is one of the most charismatic people you'll ever meet in your entire life. He can sell you anything. And his passion for denim and his knowledge is just infectious. So the buyers at Barney's just randomly stumbled upon our brand at a trade show, and Brandon just absolutely wowed them, like knocked their socks off. They're like, this guy is crazy. He knows his jeans, and he's got a product that's at a price point that is, we've never even seen it at this price point before. So, pretty much right away they put in an order, and I especially at the time, if you were at Barney's or you were at a place like American Rag, like that's where other buyers went to go see what was going on. So, like, if there was a trade show in New York, every buyer in the world was going to Barney's that week to go see. It's like going to Liberty or going to the flagship Southbridges. Like, if there's a trade show, a global trade show in town, everyone goes there to see what's going on because they've got the hot shit, they've got the inside track, and if you're there, you're somebody. And if you're and that's just the way it works. So if they sell you there, they're coming to see you next.
I think there is also the other point as well, that some brands, they do actually want to stay small. Like I know Joe & Co, he's going to tell us later about how he did grow his brand, and then he actually made the choice to go back to being a small business just doing raw denim. Yeah. He's working on altering a market today. He messaged me today saying he's just on the market. And that again is like another choice that like brands have to make, whether they want to go big and go commercial, like whether it changes them. I know it's worked for you, Naked and Famous. So yeah.
I mean, how commercial are we? I mean, we work with department stores. That's one thing. And I think that's good. The more people we could have in raw denim, doesn't matter where they're buying it from, and sometimes, you get, you're selling to that store, you're selling to that store. And there's nothing more insulting than that as a brand, because as a say you're a buyer and you're saying that to me, you're telling me if one of your customers came in with a shopping bag from that store, you would turn them around and say, hey, get out of my store. I can't believe you shopped there. It's such a stupid thing to say to somebody. And so we're commercial in the respect that we make things that are palatable for different people, and we're not just making the absolute hardcore of things, but we are an entryway for so many people to come into raw denim. You might be able to get a pair of jeans from us for $140, and in 2 years you're wearing a heavyweight 22-ounce denim, and all of a sudden you're never wearing pre-washed jeans anymore. You're a raw denim person. So having the commercial availability means that we can spread the word of raw denim to way more people. Super important.
Yeah, I think it's definitely made you a lot more accessible to people, and the fact that you guys are open to the innovation as well, which a lot of brands kind of say, no, we want to keep it pure. And so I think that's really good.
It's also an investment. I mean, some people, we're at the point where we can be a little risky with things, and some things aren't just about sales or money, and if you're a small brand and you have your dollars tied up in, because there's minimums with these fabrics, you know what I mean? You want to make a custom fabric, there's a minimum for that. So you've got tens of thousands of dollars wrapped up in fabric that you don't know is going to hit. And if it doesn't hit, well, that could be the end of you.
Yeah. We're seeing in the competition, we're seeing a lot of these smaller brands from Southeast Asia that are starting to get some recognition, part of the recognition, like through the competition, that they've been able to enter there. They're taking these risks as well. You're seeing them pushing these products that are made meticulously, really carefully, maybe heritage standard, but super heavy fabrics, and they're trying to like push into that larger market. And this market as well as anybody on this panel. So. Are you seeing like the Southeast Asian brands especially from Indonesia and Thailand? Are you seeing any of them? Are you registering any of them as kind of threats entering the space? Do you see any of them primed for a larger kind of explosion onto the broader market in the West?
No, they're enthusiast driven. I mean, they're not mass scale. They're not coming to the States. You have to make relationships with these buyers, and. Mm-hmm.
Do you see anybody at the trade shows making these relationships? Do you see anybody?
I forget the name of the brand, but it was a brand from Indonesia, and they're nice people, and they tried, and the thing about these trade shows is a lot of brands come and go, and it's a big investment, and it's not something that you can absolutely rely on going to a trade show and making money. Especially if you're a new brand, you haven't made appointments with anybody, you're just kind of sitting there in your booth and hoping somebody's going to walk by. And that doesn't happen anymore. Especially now, I know that no major department stores walk any trade shows anymore. They're all doing private appointments, so they're not even looking. So if you're at the trade show, it's not a matter of going to one. You got to go to.
Not making a big splash at the trade shows, at the big international trade shows, but maybe getting into that corner, cutting out a corner for themselves of the market in the same way the Japanese brands have done. So in the same way that a Samurai or
those brands did it because they had representation in America. They all had stores they were partnered with, and those stores built up those brands. I mean, they built up the entire profile of those brands. So
do you think there's potential for some of these Thai and Indonesian?
There's potential if they can find a store that is influential enough to say that you're going to be our anchor. You're going to be our moneymaker. Yeah. And I don't know if that store exists to take that risk on a brand that is maybe relatively unknown. Because they can buy known brands that are making equivalent quality products that have followings already. So it's a tough place to be in. You have to make something. You can't just make something as good as your competitor. You have to make something better or different. So I feel that that's where some of these brands lack is they're good at copying. In fact, I've seen copies of Naked and Famous in markets in these countries. So that's always a flattering moment to see your fake jeans being sold. But I think that's where they are at right now with a lot of what they're doing. They're in the phase of mimicking, and maybe down the road, they will get to the point where they're really pushing it and making it their own in their own way. and maybe that'll be what people want. But are they going to make inroads in America? I don't think so.
Ben, do you think Europe?
Well, to be fair, this kind of brings us on to the next hour, believe it or not. We have actually got a retail panel now coming up. Thank you very much, Brian and Bazard. That were really informative. And if anybody's got any extra questions, I've already said a million times where you can get in touch with these guys, Naked and Famous or the Indigo Invitational. Just to read out a few comments that did come in from guys. There weren't so much any questions, so I didn't really do it, but it's we got the can't wait for the Indigo Invitational. Go Selvage Foundation. That's obviously for you, Bazard. An update from Amanda. We have sold 174 raffle tickets, which means in the last 2 hours we have sold another 10. So whether you're watching this on Zoom or on YouTube, if you are watching it on YouTube, please press like and subscribe, as it does show us up through the rankings, and we are doing this for charity, and everybody's took time out of the days to be here. Hopefully some people can come across what we're recording that didn't even know they were going to find us today. Who knows? Could be future customers and denim lovers out there. We have sold 174 tickets. That's really cool. I'm aiming to do at least 350 by 12 o'clock tomorrow. Considering events only been going 3 hours, I'm quite happy with 174, but I think we can double it. Somebody said, love the fact that people in the denim community can all support each other and nobody brings anybody down. That's cool. The fade logs are great. That's part of the competition from Evan, which I've already showed you, where it's basically a buddy of ours over at Tannery South has created a fade log, which goes into a pair of jeans when you buy them. And it allows you to record basically all the information and the wear weeks. It's a little bit of fun. Probably goes in your back pocket, I would imagine, and creates another fade. And Evan is a true gent. Brilliant. Shout out to Black Horse Lane and